Welcome everyone. Well, you know it's Friday because Lindsey and I are here again. My name's Nicky and I'm the co-founder and chief customer officer of Capfinity.
I'm Lindsey Pollock. I am a career and workplace expert with a special focus on early career success.
The challenges of access to higher education, of success in as a result of higher education, of social mobility and equity are global challenges.
My research says that you've got to have somebody to stand up for you, vouch for you, but also unconsciously, how often have we heard from students around the world, I've only ever worked in Walmart, or I've only ever delivered papers or cut my neighbour's grass, but actually someone's seen you in action, turn up consistently and regularly and do work to a high standard. So they dismiss those experiences.
How do we all unite together and think about this from an industry perspective, and not how can we win the best talent and how can we go and really do the individual best thing for all of our companies, as opposed to, this concept of all boats rising. And if we all kind of learn from each other and then let the candidates decide, right? I think, hey, we have an amazing opportunity, an amazing, company in Netflix, and that's going to be great for some people. That's also not going to be great for everyone, right? And so instead of trying to wrestle against each other, how do we all sort of put our collective energy together and making it a more equitable experience for everyone?
Historically, in this emerging talent space, sort of competing for what we could think is a zero-sum game of like a talent pool, right? So just there's 1,000 amazing candidates this year, and we've got to go get our share of that, right? Versus thinking strategically about, well, let's say you're right? We're not going to get into this pipeline problem. Hopefully people see my air quotes here, but if you're right, there's only 1,000 great candidates. Well, why don't we come together to turn that number from 1,000 to 2,000, from 2,000 to 4, to 8, to 16, and on and on and on.
So I came up with an equation in the book, and this is the ROI. This is why, to your question, Nicky, that we should think about rituals. I would say both in our own lives, as humans, we are experiencing an unprecedented amount of stress and mental health issues, which are spilling into the workplace, as we know. And so the ROI, I boiled it down to something called the 3 Ps. And this is what rituals give us. The first P is they give us a sense of psychological safety and belonging. The second P is that they give us an opportunity to connect to purpose, which we know people really want at work, and not just, we talk about emerging talent and bringing in new people. They want to understand purpose and feel connected to that. You add those two together and you get increased performance.
From a veteran standpoint, it's tough to translate your job title. So it's tough to understand, like officer selection officer means university recruitment manager, or it's tough to translate I was the commanding officer or I was the platoon sergeant, and that means VP at a company. It's like so tough to kind of figure that out, and you almost really need someone to just investigate a little bit for you, or someone at that company who is a veteran who does sort of understand and have like that Rosetta Stone, who could say, hey, you were a platoon sergeant, so that means you are this title at this level at this company. So that's why it's so important sometimes to connect with people at that company, because they could really help refine that resume so that everyone understands it.
But there are jobs out there, and there actually are a lot of jobs out there. They just might not be in the industry or that specific job that you originally thought you might be going for. And so it's helping students to really broaden their perspective on what those opportunities may be, so for us, it's really important to help students to understand and to catalog their own skills and their own competencies so that they understand what they can bring to the table and how they can leverage those skills and competencies for a whole range of jobs that may be actually available and that they'll be really happy in.
In our early career space, we've been trying to access talent early in their education. So, in the undergrad space, freshman and sophomore, and in the MBA space, actually pre-MBA, so before they even start their program, through a series of Liberty proprietary programs. So these are homegrown, 2 to 3 day programs that provide students with access to understand, the culture and the environment at Liberty. But then we also support them through the rest of their educational pursuits with mentoring, with sponsorships, with scholarships, in the hopes that, they actually want to stay engaged with Liberty and come intern with us and then ultimately, convert to a full-time employee.
So of course, as we're coming to the end of our time, as Nikki knows, I'm in rural Connecticut and there's a train, and I knew it was going to go by right during our LinkedIn Live. So there it is, right on time. I was hoping you wouldn't ask me another question.